All right, so we're going on to setting up scenario 7. This scenario is pretty much set up for those that have, you probably won't be playing it if you don't have it. This is for those that own the 3D Adrena Creative expansion pack. It's not necessarily for the 3D element itself because you could have been adding that in the whole game. It's really for those components that aren't normally included in the standard game. At this point, you would be throwing in, the jet runway and stuff like that. That would be special, but you could have included that before. This is really for items that get placed. So we're going to jump into that. At this point, you'll have probably made all your purchases. You'll have that full first opportunity to purchase before the game. But then we're going to jump into the elements. I don't actually own those elements, so I'm just going to be kind of placing. I'll just pick a car out of the box and we'll kind of place it on the map just to represent placement purposes in this. So the first one is the turrets. The turrets are really easy actually because in the 3D expansion pack, there's 2 ways to use a lot of the elements to place them on the map. In this case, for turret placement, you're going to use the stickers that stick on a couple of the blank hazard tokens. And they just are elements that'll pop up if you flip that hazard token. It'll reveal a turret. You'll place the turret and follow the turret rules. The tricky one, though, that I wanted to make these videos for is for the gas station, the water tower, and the toxic goo manufacturing plant. A lot of the time, those are kind of just randomly chosen by the player to place. So I developed a placement system. So essentially, for those, let's say we end up wanting to place those on the map at the start of a match. We're kind of going for 1 on each tile as we go. We're going to roll the road dice, the 8-sided. Sorry, not the road dice, but our 8-sided dice. And what we're looking for is impassable terrain that is not touching the edge of the board and has an empty space that a vehicle can end up on it behind it. So what we're going to do here is you're going to start at the furthest back one or start at the highest row and move down if there's equal distanced impassable terrains following these rules. But since we rolled 3 in our case, so 3 on the 8-sided dice, we're going to count up 1, 2, 3. And yes, I'm using the white car, but this is supposed to represent one of those impassable terrain features. It would end up there. Now, if we rolled higher than the 8, just to cover however many placements there could be, let's say we rolled 5 in this case, we would go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then start back at the beginning in 5 to put our placement. So parts of that are, if this is the very first setup tile, you're going to roll that number, and then you get to pick which one of the 3, whether it's the gas station, the water tower, and the toxic goo are being put out. If it's a drawn road tile, later on that reveals impassable terrain that has this criteria, the player that revealed that tile by their vehicle going onto it gets to pick which one of the 3 ends up getting rolled and placed. The other 2 elements that we're going to go over, the first one will be EMPs. So EMPs are a new thing that's added in the 3D expansion pack. For this mode, we're going to place them just like we normally would, like on our setup. So on the tile, you're going to roll the 6 in the 8-sided dice. We're going to do our classic count. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that's where we would place our EMP. And we're using the mode where a car can drive by it, shoot it to activate it, and then follow the EMP rules. The last one's the angled container ramps. So I actually didn't pre-stage this, but let's say one of these is a ramp when you flip it over, because in the Carnage at Devil's Run, some of these will be ramps. This happens to be a ramp, and there isn't already all the Connex ramps from the 3D expansion, the shipping container ramps that are angled, used on the board. That player that revealed it can pick one of them and place it whether it be the left or the right angled one, they can place that for whichever one they choose, as long as it's available. So I'm going to kind of just verbally go over the next 2 levels, possibly 3, depending on what you own. One will be more vague because I don't own it, and there isn't really any criteria out on the internet that shows how it plays. But in scenario 8, which will be the Carnival of Chaos, you're going to actually go ahead and set up the Carnival of Chaos with the 3 road tiles attached. In this, you're going to use the Holosseum side for scenario 8. So Holosseum side will be that side up. You're going to follow the rules on the back of the Carnival of Chaos book that are going to add or remove elements from these expansion packs that don't need to be in the game for the like the extra ammo pack, and so I think some of the Chop Shop upgrade cards get removed. You're going to put back in the bootleg turn and the killer pillar tokens back into the Carnival of Chaos, and you're going to play a standard game of Carnival of Chaos at this point with all your cool upgrades. But we're going to talk about what's different. Essentially, the 2 things that are really big different in this game is you get to keep all the scrap you earn during the match, even if your team is destroyed. I think in the standard rules, if I recall right, the player that gets eliminated doesn't get to keep any scrap. We want it to be fun, so you get to keep the scrap you've earned. And then also you get to gain 1 scrap for each active card you still have left on the map at the end of the match. Scenario 9, going to be the exact same type of thing. You'll have the opportunity to make your purchases at the beginning if you want to, except this time we were using the Slaytona 500 side. Really easy to do. You're just going to go through, blast out a match, still adding those extra 2 rules that we had in where you get to keep scrap and you get some scrap for cars at the end of the game. And last but not least, scenario 10. This is the one that a lot of us won't get to play. I don't have the Adrena Creative expansion content for the Carnival of Chaos. This adds in, it looks like, some new game elements, which is neat. Obviously, in these first 2 Carnival of Chaos matches, you could use the standard components that are replaced with 3D stuff. But this one, you'd be adding in all the new mechanical elements into it. So that'd be the Adrena Creative Terrain Plus pack for the Carnival of Chaos. So once you played through these matches, regardless, whether you finished in scenario 9 or scenario 10, you're at the end of the game, and you're going to determine who the winner is. So when we're doing that, essentially, it's really simple. You're going to count all your scrap tokens you've earned. You're going to add on 5 scrap for each Chop Shop upgrade you have. You're going to add on 10 for your crew chief, and that's the total score. And whoever has the highest scoring at the end of the game wins the game. I didn't make a bunch of subjective sublet options if there's a tie, but if there's a tie, you really could go through using, I guess, the Carnival of Chaos rules for who wins based on scrap at that point. And that's it. I hope this has helped. It's a fun little campaign to play through, really simple to add these elements in throughout the whole thing. And yeah, I hope you guys all have a great day. Till next time.